Welcome to this week's episode of Immersed TV. I'm your host, Drew with you, and I'm so excited to be back. So much to cover today, so we're going to jump right into it. This episode, we're going to check in with our media partners from around the globe, as well as some of the paddlers to give us their take on what's happening in the APP Fast Track and the APP Ride of the Season contest. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're hearing it for the first time, you must have been hiding under a rock. You have a chance to win a trip to Portugal to check out some of the most amazing waves on the planet. All you got to do is enter one of these contests. Make sure to check in with us every Friday for our weekly highlights with AB, Dave, and I as we talk through some of the submissions for that week. But now we're going to check in down south. That's right, we're going to Brazil, ladies and gentlemen, to check in with Luciano from Aloha Spirit Club. Luciano, thank you so much for joining me today. And we're talking with our partners and athletes from a few regions from around the world about the APP Fast Track and the APP Ride of the Season. How has the contest been viewed in Brazil, do you think?
Everybody is very excited here because you are right now allowed to pedal by yourself, not in group of persons, but alone. So this kind of competition, you have a lot of people doing for both Ride of the Season and Fast Track.
Currently in the APP Ride of the Season, we have two Brazilians in the top 10, Carlos Bahia and Marcio Grillo, with an epic barrel. Have you spoken with them? Are they stoked with the current placing in the leaderboard, or what's their overall feel?
Yes, they are very excited, and both Grillo and Bahia, they live in Maresias. Maresias is the hometown of Gabriel Medina. Is very known by the quality of the waves, very barreled waves and powerful waves. So they have a lot of materials, and I just talked with Marcio Grillo yesterday about his wave, and he said, wait, I have few more, but in the time he's sending the images, he doesn't want to do everything at the same time, so it's kind of strategy mind thing. And Bahia also has a lot of good waves. He said he's going to send in the next weeks. But I think we're going to have more surprise for guys like Wellington Reis, Luiz Diniz, Leco Salazar is preparing something. So I think we're going to have good images in the next days.
Luciano, we're so excited to see all the new clips from all those amazing athletes. And I know we're all going to be waiting on the edge of our seats, so I can't wait to see them. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll check in with you again soon. And up next, we speak with someone who does not need to be introduced to anyone in the world of SUP. He has been a part of the industry from the start, and we're very excited to talk to Mike Jucker, owner and publisher of Stand Up Magazine. And he's also owns Jucker Hawaii, an epic skateboarding brand. Mike, you're from Switzerland to start, and now you live in Maui, and you're running a German sup mag. Tell us more.
Hey, thanks, Drew, for having me. Yes, so I followed a dream as a young adult, leaving Switzerland as a skateboard, snowboard rat, kind of so to speak, back in the 90s, with a final dream of surfing. And I roamed the world with my surfboard for several years, looking for an alternative lifestyle out of Switzerland. I got lucky, things fell into place for me in Hawaii, and lastly then settled 18 years ago on the west coast of Maui.
Mike, what got you into the world of stand-up paddling to begin with?
Well, this is an interesting story. I remember seeing stand-up paddling from its infancy over here on Maui, and everybody was talking about Laird Hamilton and Dave Colombo. And it took, when really the light went off with me is when my friend called me from Paia and said, like, hey, these guys are paddling down this coast, and we should go try this. And he had like an old 10-6 longboard style board, and I still remember it to this day. We went out of Maliko, and it was just blowing so hard. So it was, to me, it was like, that was the coolest thing. So that was kind of the start. And then we were like, hey, why don't we make a magazine? So with this idea, I went back to Maui and starting to research, realizing that the German internet had only really 2 personal blogs on stand-up paddling, but no background information. And I was like, well, I'm sitting here on Maui at the source of it all. It's 2010, this thing is just getting started. So WordPress is really easy. And so I started a WordPress page, And then came the idea with the print magazine a year later, because there was no print magazine in Germany either. And I really have a passion for photography, and magazines like Surfer Journal is really like my inspiration there. So for the Paddle Expo in 2011, I made, and I have it, actually happen to have it here, that was my first experimental issue, just, you know, with a bunch of text here, a little magazine here, like more like a high school magazine. And it was received actually pretty well, and people liked it. And then I moved on to a bigger format magazine, which is now looking like this. Twice a year, once every like a spring and a fall issue. And instead of focusing on, you know, daily news, which we have a website for, I have stories in the magazine with interviews and travel stories, and it's a lifestyle magazine.
Now, Mike, 2020 has been an interesting year for sure, and it's actually spawned a lot of virtual races this year. What are your thoughts on a virtual race format, and what most have you been excited about?
I think it's absolutely fabulous, and I'm very excited about it. And when I heard about it for the first time, I was kind of thinking, why didn't we have that earlier already? Look, I like to wear my race shirts, but it only counts when you participated in it. So how cool is this? Like, all these people are really so stoked that they received the cool gear from the race. They can wear their shirts like, yeah, I did there, I did it. And I think that is something really cool about it. It makes me very excited. And then your concept, which is the next one, I think, and I'm just looking at your guys' website with the kilometers per hour, how you can capture that, and then rewarding the paddlers after, particularly the inclusion of the non-pros that don't have that travel budget, which is a really, really difficult for a lot of people in SUP. And I would hope that actually in the future, even if you have a regular tour, maybe that be something in the future for amateur, non-sponsored paddlers to keep up with this. And maybe it can be a platform and an opportunity for somebody from there to make it into the top tier. Maybe you have a black horse that is all of a sudden posts down a speed that everybody's like, what the heck? And now he shows up at a regular event and really puts everybody leaves everybody in the dust. And you have kind of like these success stories that you can help producing along the way. So yeah, I see a lot of opportunity there for sure.
Mike, thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and we look forward to having you on the show a little more often and take a look at German paddlers as well as all the European racers. Our last regional check-in for the day is Stand Up Journal's Evelyn. Evelyn, thank you so much for being on the show again. How's life on the East Coast?
Hey, Drew. It's going really well. Summer in New York is a beautiful thing when you live out on the East End of Long Island.
This has clearly been a virtual-esque year. What has been your impression of all the virtual races taking place?
I was super stoked. I mean, I'm a believer in, if we can't get together in person, that technology is an amazing way to gather humans, you know, in one place. And, you know, I just have to say my hat's off to Molokai to Oahu, because they really were the first ones that I saw that really put it out there, that said, you know, we're going to do this virtual event. It's anything goes. And the stoke level, I signed up for that immediately. And the stoke level for that has been all time. You know, out of all the sporting events, Drew, I think that paddling is having the best summer. I really do. And I think that's great. You know, fundraisers are still happening, virtual fundraisers. And, you know, and the APP, of course, is leading the charge with like the stoke machine of, you know, with the ride of the season and the fast track. But, you know, as for the fast track, we have our pros, right? We have the guys who we expect to just do crazy things out there. But there's also a lot of unknown riders that are super fast, you know, that this is their chance, right? Like, this is their chance to get noticed, you know, on a global level, and also by the APP World Tour.
Evelyn, always great to hear from you, and I can't wait to see some of your virtual races you're competing in.
Thanks so much, Drew. I hope you guys are having a great summer, and I look forward to talking to everybody really soon.
And ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. More Immersed TV when we come back. welcome back to Immersed TV. Now we're going to check in with some of the racers from around the world to see how the APP Fast Track and the APP Ride of the Season is treating them. One of the best things about these virtual races is getting to see amateur paddlers from around the world really getting involved in the APP Fast Track and APP Ride of the Season. We've seen some amazing times already being logged in the Fast Tracks portion of the program by the unsponsored paddlers. Some of the top ones on the leaderboard is Bruce out of the UK. And Bruce, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Where in the UK are you actually located?
Just outside Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England.
Bruce, there's a lot of virtual events right now, aside from the APP ones currently happening. Which ones are you participating in?
As many as possible, if I'm honest. They've been really good for helping with the motivation to get out there.
And Bruce, what appealed to you most about a 50-meter sprint in comparison to other contests?
It was like, yeah, bring it. That was the one that proper excited, as I says. I was talking to my girlfriend, Karen, and like, we've got to do this. The prize at the end is pretty awesome, but just being there, and it was like, I was just counting down the days.
And Bruce, you posted 3 clips so far, with each one improving your speed. What has been your secret to improving your speed?
So, watching the other guys as well, watching the top guys, they seem so like calm and controlled. And when I first started, I think it was just more messy and sloppy. So just trying to refine it and just trying. Looking at the speed coach, which I've just purchased, but just getting out there, trying different things all the time.
And Bruce, you still have a few more weeks to post in this contest, and we look forward to seeing what speed you have. So keep it coming, buddy.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Cheers. Thank you.
Now our next guest is someone that has already proven himself in the world of speed and worn the World Championship crown. We're talking to none other than Arthur Rukin from France. Arthur, been a very slow year compared to your normal years, and how are you getting used to that?
I mean, I've been doing this for a while, and yeah, my body's super tired. I think like I've got a lot of few injuries since the beginning of the year, so actually I'm like right now, like I still have a broken foot, so I'm happy to take it easy as well.
And Arthur, with a broken foot, we know you're not competing in any of the virtual races as of yet. When do you think you'll see yourself participating?
Yeah, I mean it's great. Like it also pushed people to go in the water, and a lot of people, even amateurs, they like to go to races and they like to push themselves. And I think it's the occasion for them to go and push their limits.
And I know you're familiar with a lot of the competitors competing in this contest. You have Danny Ching, Casper Steinfeld, some of the top sprinters in the world of SUP, but you also have Ryan Taguchi, who's been sort of trading out that top spot.
Yeah, I have no clue because I really never tested it. So yeah, it will be super interesting. And I remember like Ryan in Japan when we were doing the sprints, he was super fast, and it's cool to see a young guys like this ripping on the board.
And Arthur, we can't wait to see you get healed up and get on the water and actually post your own time. We expect big things, my friend.
Sweet.
Our last guest of the day has been helping keep everyone in tip-top shape with her Tuesday Fast Track tips. I'd like to welcome April Zilg to the show. And April, I know you moved from the East Coast back to the West Coast here about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. Now you moved back to the East Coast. How's the readaptation going?
Yep, all the way back to North Carolina. My husband's job kind of brought us back here to the central part of the state. It's nice to be back in my home state, though.
Now, April, I know you're a strong water woman. And how's been being landlocked treating you? And how do you deal with the cravings for riding bumps and catching waves like you did out here on the West Coast?
But to get my fix with bumps and waves, I'm actually chasing wakeboard boats around the lake. So there's pontoon boats and there's wakeboard boats. The wakeboard boats are my preferred ride. I'm actually handing out Salt Life gear in exchange for boat wake rides. So when people pull me, if they pull me far enough and I think they look like nice people, I wave them down and I hand them like Salt Life hats and shirts and koozies.
In April, you've been putting up some amazing Tip Tuesdays, and that's been going on for a while now, which is basically just sort of paralleled into the APP Fast Track. Why don't you talk a little bit about how posting those tips really transpired and how you got started in it?
Oh man, I've been doing Sub Tip Tuesdays on Instagram. I think it's been 2 years now. When I moved to California, I was just trying to find a way, because I don't honestly enjoy posting to social media that much when it's like, oh, here's a picture of me. It's not really my jam. So I just did some brainstorming. I was like, what can I post on social media that it'll make me enjoy posting? Because it's not sustainable if I don't enjoy it. And providing tips and tricks and just help to other people who are maybe starting out on their paddling journey or have questions for me, that made it exciting and engaging for me. And I'm not posting about me now. I'm actually, all of my Tip Tuesdays are giving back to the sport, you know, where the sport has already given me so much.
In April, I know you're very goal driven. What is that magic number you're searching for in the APP Fast Track?
I want to get to 9 miles an hour on my own power. I know that I can do it behind a boat. If I go seek out a little spot with some tailwind, I can do that as well. But I'm not after just hitting the number. I'm after, it's more of like, it's for me. So breaking 9 miles an hour in flat, heavy, sticky water is it's pretty hard. I went out last week and I did surprise myself with 8.94. And I had a moment where I was like, oh man, okay, it's only week 2. Did I jump the gun on this 9 miles an hour? And I need to like raise that up a little bit. And I went out this week and the answer is no. I did not jump the gun. I am this week nowhere near even 8.94. I don't know why. Maybe just a little bit of neurological fatigue. Maybe I got to rest.
In April, last question for you. Once the world settles again and we get back to the world of traveling for the tour, what lessons do you want to take with you into the next season from your time off?
No, I'm definitely going to bring all the lessons that I'm learning right now with me. And I've had more time to reflect on the lessons that I learned in my first year of the world tour as well, where, you know, I went into London incredibly fatigued, having the 40-mile Wild Buffalo relay, followed by the Carolina Cup, followed by the Salt Life event in Georgia. So like I had a triple whammy there where it was just very grueling, and then I hop on a plane and I go to London and I'm like, I'll be fine. I was fine, but I've got to prioritize my events better. The saying is, if you chase all the rabbits, you'll catch none. So I need to pick which rabbit I want to chase, because right now I'm like, bunnies! And I'm just leaping in a field of bunnies and I'm not capturing any little bunnies. So I need to be more specific about which rabbit I will hone in on and chase.
And April, thanks so much for being a part of the show. Can't wait to see that magic number from you coming up here in weeks to come.
Well, yeah. And again, if anybody has any special requests for tips, I think we've got about 6 tips. No, only 5 tips left. So if you need to know something, you better let me know soon so I can plan accordingly.
And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, you still have time. Get those fast tracks posted. I just saw one from Danny Ching. He's a blazer. Is anybody going to catch him? That's the question. Now for everyone at home, we're going to end the show by playing out with the latest SUP tip from April Zilg. And here it is, your SUP Tip Tuesday that she uploaded this week.
Hey guys, April here, and this week I want to touch a little bit on nutrition for posting your top speed in the APP Fast Track. In week 1, I briefly mentioned the neurological development that would be going on as you engage more muscle fibers at a faster rate. First, you need to eat. Developing these new connections takes energy, so make sure you replenish that energy with high-quality, unprocessed calories. Secondly, both muscle contractions and nerve impulses rely on the electrical gradient between the inside and the outside of your cells. For this, you need to be hydrated and also have plenty of salts. Finally, since 50 meters is close to 30 seconds or less for most people, the effort will rely mostly on your ATP phosphocreatine system. So make sure you're getting plenty of creatine in your diet to improve how long you can go in an alactic state. That is, before generating lactic acid to buffer the burning hydrogen ions in your muscles. This also fosters a less acidic environment in your body, which in today's stressful world is a good thing.